So if you watched my last video about outgoing social anxiety and how it shows up when someone likes you, you probably recognized yourself in some of those patterns. And you may ask, okay, but what do I actually do about this? How do I stop exhausting myself every time I'm around someone I like? That's such a good question, because here's the thing, if you have outgoing social anxiety, you're stuck in this really uncomfortable place. You genuinely enjoy being around people. You want to get closer to someone you like. But every single time, you're overthinking everything, terrified of being misunderstood, and you end up completely drained. So here's what I want you to understand. The goal isn't to fix your social anxiety or become a different person. The real goal is learning how to be yourself around the people you care about without constantly performing or hiding. It's about bringing your natural warmth forward without the mental gymnastics. Let me break this down for you, because I think the first thing you need to work on is actually your relationship with yourself. If you have outgoing social anxiety, you are probably incredibly hard on yourself. You expect yourself to be effortlessly charming, perfectly appropriate, endlessly interesting all the time. But here's the problem with that. The more you chase perfection, the more rigid and unnatural you become. So instead of trying to be perfect, try shifting to this mindset. I'm not trying to impress them or seem flawless. I just want to genuinely connect with them. Because here's the truth, as long as you are sincere, kind, and respectful, a little nervousness is actually endearing. It's not a flaw. It's human. And there's another mental trap you're probably falling into, treating being liked as a task you need to accomplish. You start performing, people-pleasing, hiding your real reactions because you're so focused on making them like you. But when you do that, people can't actually see who you are. They're seeing a version of you that's trying too hard. A much healthier way to think about it is this: I'm just here to see if we're compatible. I don't need everyone to like me, and that's okay. That one shift in perspective can dramatically reduce your anxiety because it takes the pressure off. Now let's talk about what this actually looks like when you're around someone you like. You don't need to suddenly become the most charismatic person in the room. Actually, people with outgoing social anxiety have a natural advantage that they don't realize. You are incredibly empathetic. You are good at reading people and understanding how they feel. So instead of performing or trying to be impressive, lean into that empathy. When they say something, genuinely respond to it. Say things like, "Oh, I totally relate to that," or "I've thought about that exact same thing before." This way, you're connecting authentically instead of exhausting yourself trying to be entertaining. And you don't need to be constantly driving the conversation either. A lot of people with outgoing social anxiety feel like they have to be either completely passive or totally in control. But there's actually a middle ground, and that's where you want to be. I call it being semi-active. What does that look like? You send a casual text without expecting an immediate response. You throw out an open-ended invitation like, "We should check that place out sometime," and then you let them respond in their own time. You contribute to conversations, but you're not forcing them to keep going. Think of it this way: you're opening the door and inviting them in, but you're not dragging them through it. Now, inevitably, there are going to be awkward moments. You're going to say something and immediately think, "Oh God, that was weird." But here's the thing: you can actually acknowledge that in a light, humorous way. Say something like, "Okay, did I just say something strange? Haha." Or, "Not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous right now." This kind of honesty is actually really disarming. It makes the other person relax, and it shows them that you are genuine. People appreciate that vulnerability way more than they appreciate a flawless performance. Here's another thing that people with outgoing social anxiety tend to do: you rush into fast. You get excited about someone, and suddenly you're texting them constantly, sharing everything, getting really invested really quickly. And then, you wonder why it feels overwhelming or why things fizzle out. What you want to practice instead is staying at a comfortable distance. Not a cold distance, a comfortable one. You're not trying to become best friends or super close overnight. You're trying to make each interaction a little more comfortable and genuine than the last. You're building something slowly, and that's actually what creates lasting connections. Let's also talk about what happens after you interact with someone you like, because this is where a lot of the anxiety lives. You go home and immediately start replaying everything. Was I too loud? Did I talk too much? They probably think I'm annoying now. Sound familiar? But here's what you can do instead: catch yourself when you start spiraling and reframe it. Instead of "I was too much," try telling yourself, "I did my best to be genuine today," instead of "They definitely think I'm weird." Try, even if it was a bit awkward, "At least I was being real." This kind of self-compassion is really important because it cuts your recovery time way down. Instead of spending 2 days mentally beating yourself up, you can let it go in like 30 minutes and move on with your life. Now, one of the most helpful things you can do for yourself is to identify your specific triggers. What exactly makes you anxious in social situations? Is it when someone goes quiet and you are not sure what to say? Is it when they don't text back right away? Is it when you feel like you're talking too much? Once you start noticing these patterns, you can catch them in the moment. You can slow yourself down, take a breath, and remind yourself that it's okay. You don't need to fill every silence. You don't need to be on all the time. Here's another thing that really helps: create some safe social spaces for yourself. People with outgoing social anxiety are actually incredibly relaxed and fun when they're with people they trust, so find a few friends where you can say anything without judgment. Join communities or groups around your interests where you feel comfortable being yourself. Even online spaces count. These little circles become your foundation. They remind you that you are likable, that you are enough, and that you don't need to perform to be valued. And finally, practice small moments of real expression. This doesn't mean you have to bare your soul to everyone, but start with little things. Say, "Honestly, I was kind of nervous just now. Haha," or "I'm worried I talked too much." These small admissions of vulnerability actually make people feel closer to you. They also free you up because you're not holding everything in anymore. And honestly, this is one of the most attractive things about people with outgoing social anxiety: that combination of warmth, sincerity, and a little bit of vulnerability. So here's the bottom line: if you're outgoing but socially anxious, you don't need to change who you are. You don't need to become more confident or more extroverted. You just need to learn how to stop hiding around the people you like. A genuine smile, an easy laugh, being honest about how you feel, that's way more magnetic than trying to seem perfect. The right people will appreciate you for exactly who you are, awkwardness and all. So give yourself permission to be imperfect. Show up as yourself, and trust that the people who matter will see your warmth and genuineness for what it really is. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.